What have we here, laddie? Mysterious scribblings?
This is Dan Vellante. When did you start becoming interested in it?
So way back when, in the 60s, late 60s, my grandparents, my grandfather, my mom's dad, we used to go over to their house in Argentina, in Buenos Aires, and he'd always have horror movies playing. And these were like Bela Lugosi
Classics.
I mean, Frankenstein and Creature of the Black Lagoon and so forth, But, to me, I was just scared out of my mind of these movies. And the way that tried to control that, because people would tell me, they're just movies, they're make-believe and all these other things. Well, 6 years old, it's like, no, it's real, because it's on the screen. It's got to be, right? So the way that I try to control that, and help out that situation, and this is where my persona was kind of built at this point in terms of being in control. That's why I became a lighting designer, and so lighting designers and scene designers, we like being in control, right? Not a director. Director had too many hats, and I didn't like that. Although at first I tried to be a director, and went, it's not, for me, it's not creative enough in the sense of being hands-on with things, not with people, but with things, So I decided, okay, well, if they're make-believe, how are they make-believe? How are they not real? So I went to the library, and started reading on Hollywood and, how things were made, makeup and all of these other things. And when we got to the States in '73, you guys have a thing here called Halloween. So I thought, whoa, how perfect is this? Because in Argentina we have, a festival, which is, it's a yearly festival. It's kind of like what they do in Rio, So you can do some things like that, but it wasn't the horror film things, that I wanted to do and get a hold of. So, first time dressed up in a costume, I think I was Frankenstein. And I noticed that, putting on the costume, I just you kind of take on that persona, especially as a kid, I was 8 years old. So, taking on the persona of this creature and everything that went along with this creature and what I knew about this creature, because even though, I was afraid to watch these movies, I would leave the room, but I would still kind of, out of the corner kind of thing. When things got too scary, kind of dive, away. Or my grandparents would go, what the? kind of thing. So I started doing Halloween, and the way that I got control of that was by becoming this creature. So who this creature is, why this creature, how this creature came to be. And I thought, once I put on the costume and all that stuff, how cool is that? To pretend to be this thing that I've always been afraid of. And then I thought, well, if we're just creating the creature, how come we can't create the atmosphere? And it wasn't like that. It was like, no, I can create the atmosphere. So that's when I started, decorating my house, outside with, cobwebs and things like that, and creating this, horror film-like, atmosphere. A lot of the stuff I just learned from books, how to build scenery and special effects and, special makeup and lighting and all these things. It was just stuff from the library. I still have the book, How to Create a Movie Monster, which I got when I was, oh my gosh, fourth grade, something like that.
Oh.
And I still have it marked, you know, with the pages that I had marked back in when I was 9 years old.
Wow.
And so I started creating, you know, in the garage, all of these things. And I thought, you know, how cool to be able to do this for the rest of my life. I've got to make this into a career or something, you know what I mean? Because I didn't know any piece about that. It wasn't until I got back to college, but I didn't know how to still make that connection between doing what I love to do and making money at it, you know, kind of thing. We didn't have that much information, honestly. I mean, in the 80s. Second semester, I took the Theater 101. And that sparked something in me. And so that's what did. The thing that I love most is theater. There's a connection that, to me, that I have with theater that it comes from my soul. So I love the excitement of live, you know. And we can cover really easy in concerts, live, without the audience knowing it. In theater, it's a lot more difficult to do it. So there's that challenge, and the challenge to, you know, achieve a perfect show. And then when you do, it's an amazing experience. And when you have a connection with the cast, you have the cast and the lighting, and everything just goes all at once. There's nothing better. So if I had to pick one, theater.
Yeah. Well, what brought you into teaching? Why did you leave all that stuff behind and start teaching?
Oh, that's easy. 5 children. Yeah, I mean, you know, James, my first, because I was still doing lots of shows and touring and sometimes being on a soundstage, I missed his first year of life. And I came off that year, and I looked back on that year and saw what I missed, because I got glimpses, you know what I mean? But I missed that year, and I said, that's when I said to myself, I said, never again. Never again. And luckily I was, you know, staff at Cal State Fullerton, so I was able to get my MFA. That's why I decided from then on, it's like, no, my goal is to teach and develop a program to offer things that I didn't get.